This is going to be an overview of the gear that I have taken with me, of what gear I found useful, what gear I found not useful, and how I packed the gear, and what my goals were in regards to how I wanted to pack and how I wanted to approach the camping, how I wanted to approach the organization, and as far as the trip was 15 days, and it's not something I'm really going to go over too much in this video, if at all, but I might be releasing a video on that soon. Everything you see here is what I took with me. This is a Osprey Farpoint 40 backpack, and I had my flip-flops on there, as well as a tarp. And I didn't take that water bottle with me, but it is a representation that I always carried a water bottle externally. The only things that would not be in this backpack currently would be 2 liters of water, which it could easily slide into the side on the inside so it's not seen, as well as about a days and a half worth of snacks and what have you. Now, as far as the goals, in regards to the amount that I wanted to pack, I did not want to have a backpack that was large. I did not want a large hiking backpack. I also did not want anything significant hanging off of the backpack. As you see on this video, the only thing that's really hanging off is flip-flops and the tarp, and it's quite small. And I did not want it to be something that would look like I would be hiking in the woods for weeks on end, or I find that when that ends up happening, you have too much space, you take too much stuff, and stuff that you don't use. So restricting myself to a 40-liter backpack like this was ended up being a really good decision, because I didn't find myself needing more space. Now, this is probably something that goes along with any size backpack, but people tend to pack to the size bag they have, to the point where the bag is actually basically overflowing, which means that the zippers are really, really tight when you're trying to end up closing it, whether when you're packing up your camping equipment or you're packing up your clothes. It's happened to me all the time. I hate having to force the zipper closed. So on this trip, I wanted to make sure that that was not the case, and fortunately I did. So everything you see here allows me to put a day's worth of food in there, 2 more liters of water, or maybe even a little bit more, maybe 3, and also close the zippers easily. I basically also never opened the backpack all the way. I would do this half zip, which would allow me to shove my clothes into it, which would mean I'd be much more efficient. So this is basically my junk drawer bag. Bunch of goodies in there, but junk drawer. Then I have a separate bag for toiletries, and then clothes. I carried 2 to 3 shirts, 2 to 3 pairs of socks, 2 to 3 pairs of underwear, as well as like a tech style short, which doubled as swim trunks, and just regular gym shorts, so I didn't carry gym shorts. In addition to the clothes, I wanted to mention that I ended up bringing a pair of jeans that looked decent, as well as shorts, because one of the things that I wanted to do was stay in hostels and then go out. So I wanted to make sure I brought clothes with me that did not look like I was just hiking. So a pair of jeans and the shorts were a requirement. What is important here is that I used these little bags. I tried to organize them, but I never really did. I ended up basically just putting random bits of each set of clothes in 3 or 4 of these bags, and I'd have an extra one for my dirty clothes. And I would just jam it in there, and I'd just make it fit. But I found it extremely useful to use these little bags, because they're just little bundles. It keeps them all not organized in the sense that I always kept underwear in here and shirts in here or what have you, but it kept it organized in the sense that I just jam them into the bag, shove them in there, and it gave me loads of room in the bag because I could really push it down, um, and I wouldn't be fighting the zipper up top because they were like folded and laid out inside of the backpack. That just didn't work. So this is everything that would be in the main pocket in the bag. I'd have 2 or 3 shirts, 2 or 3 pairs of socks, 2 or 3 pairs of underwear, and then I'd have in this. I really like this. I found this really little cinch sack, which I would have like one of those tech down or synthetic jackets, as well as my sweatpants and a thick pair of socks. This was really cool because I didn't use it extremely often, but it was nice to have something warm. And then because I could smash it down into a really nice little ball, it didn't take up much space, but I was able to have some warm clothes when I needed it. And this is a inflatable pillow. This is a cover, a rain cover for the backpack. Didn't end up using that, but I probably would take that again. If it didn't work out, I would just chuck it on the next trip. A tiny towel. It's only like 24 by 24 inches. It's not very big, but it was really, really handy to have. That's all I needed. And obviously, what I said before, my junk drawer bag, which I'll go through that eventually. So this is all the stuff that was in that junk bag, like I mentioned. I haven't thought about all this real in depth, whether or not I would keep everything in there. But I'd say that I probably would take most of it again, even if I didn't use all of it on this last trip. Burner phone, basically my old phone, just in case the phone that I would normally be using it broke or I lost it. I would have this one, which I actually would have purchased a SIM card for it as well, so it would literally be working. I would just need to turn it on. Extra SD cards to film. Tape, obviously, used great. That was awesome. This is Velcro strap that you just cut to size. Great stuff. I love that. Lighter, I didn't use, but I would take again. Bug repellent, didn't use, but I'd probably take it again. Headlamp, obviously good. This is a 20,000 milliamp hour battery pack, as well as a charger. And I found this cool cord, which is a 1 to 3, so anything I wanted to charge, I could, as far as micro SD, iPhone, or USB-C. I didn't think I'd need a 20,000 milliamp hour battery pack, but at one point I forgot to charge, and then I couldn't charge the next night, and I had loads of batteries, so I'd probably take that again. Masks, sure. Carabiners, I don't know why I took so many, but I did use them. Bunch of batteries. I don't know if I'd take that again. They were mostly I thought I'd be using them for the headlamp, but I didn't use that much. I mostly just used the light on my phone, but I'd probably take it again. Poncho didn't use, but I'd probably take it again. This little bag that I have that I jam with I live in California, so I have these, you gotta pay for bags here, which I'm totally fine with, especially because they're like really beefy bags. So taking 2 of those was really handy. I did like that. Collapsible water bottle, I don't know. Maybe I won't take that again. Patch kit for my inflatable mattress that I'll talk about camping equipment later. And I tell you, this dumb little thing, this is a little fan. As a hitchhiker, you'd think, why the heck would you waste space on a fan? But man, when it was like 80 degrees at night, 80 with like high humidity, and all you could hear is the mosquitoes flying around. Having this to just get you to sleep was amazing. And it's only that big. It's like the same size I don't know. I mean, you get it. It was just great. And the hitchhiking elitist may not say bring a freaking electric fan with you, but I will take that everywhere I go. Now, before I open the rest of the bag, I wanted to mention that my other objective, in addition to only using a 40-liter bag and not have much hanging off the bag, was to have all my camping equipment inside of the bag. I did not want to have sleeping bags or sleeping pads or anything like that hanging off the outside. Like I said, I ended up having this little tarp kind of strapped to the side like you saw, which really was not particularly noticeable. And I ended up not using it, but I'd probably take it again. But it keeps everything real tight, and it is real clean, and it's not particularly obvious. Like, people had no idea that I was able to have an entire camping setup in this bag, and that was extremely nice to have. So I packed everything up. I feel like this would be best illustrated kind of the way that I did this by doing it with the backpack packed, because I wouldn't unpack my backpack before I took my camping equipment out. I wouldn't have to do any of that. So I wanted to make the camping system as easy as possible. I wanted it to be uh, easy to take out, easy to put back in. I don't want to wrestle with the zippers. I don't want to wrestle with rolling things or just there was a little bit of that, but I just hate dealing with difficult to set up camping equipment. I hate tents. I hate how big they are. I prefer bivvies, but when it was hot in 80 to 80% humidity in Mexico, you just can't do the bivvy. It's way too hot. There's no airflow. So this is how I set my camping equipment setup. So everything is located in the front main pocket of this backpack. I did not want to deal with opening up multiple pockets. I only want to open up one zipper. I just want it to be as simple as possible. I don't need to get my clothes out. If I didn't care about changing, I just wanted to get in my sleeping bag or my bug net I took with me instead of a regular tent. That's all I wanted to do. So you open this up, and out comes this. You may not have seen this before, but this thing is awesome. This is a bug net. This bug net was 50 bucks on Amazon, and it is the best thing that I have seen for this type of purpose. Obviously, opening that up is difficult with one hand, but setup is not. So it comes right out of the bag, and it almost wants to open itself. It's twisted a little bit. That is it. I unzipped and opened up and set up my tent in like seconds with one hand while filming. That is how I like to set up my tent. I hate normal tents. I hate poles. I hate all dealing with all that. So, what I have left here is my sleeping pad. Now, this is let's see, it is the Big Agnes Air Core Ultra. This is a good pad. I don't know. They say it's insulated. I'm sure it is. But I never noticed the difference between this one and the non-insulated, other than maybe this one's a little thicker, which I actually wish it wasn't. I wish it was just a regular like piece of plastic, but it almost feels like there's fabric in there. This is the 25-inch wide pad because I hate sleeping on the thin ones. And now let's put it inside of the bugging it. So let's open this with one hand and throw this in here. Lay it out a little bit. And you might be thinking, that thing is there to blow up. And you're not wrong. Which is why I will come to the second best part of not subscribing directly to the super minimalist hitchhiker. That's just my sleeping, it's really more like it's a down sleeping blanket, really. It's basically just a real thin sleeping bag. But it was down, so it packs down nice. So the moment of truth. Oh, freaking air pump. This is an air pump. And I will, with one hand, change the direction of the nozzle adapter. Okay. Open. Plop that in there, and I will do this in real time so you see how long it takes. Push this up there. If you want to skip ahead, go for it. I feel like it's useful to see how long this actually takes. I haven't timed it, but I guess I'll be able to know how long it does take when I'm filming this. So then what I would do while that's filling up, is this has this little tab here, which I never used, but I was going to just tie something to it with a little hook on it so that I could, or just put a rock on the string that would be pulling out here, but I never did that because the air mattress that I have, it fills it up pretty nicely, and I didn't have to worry about this staying up too much. So while this would be filling, I'd be, I don't know, probably doing nothing. And that, my friends, is it. So what you gotta do is, I'm gonna lose air, but so I lost some air there because I did that with one hand. There's a way to like squeeze it to block it so you don't lose any air, and then you close this. But with filming, I lost some air. But yeah, it filled it up in, I don't know, what was that, a minute and a half? Instead of, it would take way longer than that, and way more painful to do that by breathing into it. So here you see I have the fan, and I put this rubber band around it so that I could just wrap it around this carabiner here, and then I turn it on. And it would run for, I think, like 3 or 4 hours, which is enough for me to get to sleep. One time I plugged it in the middle of the night to charge it a little bit more so I could get back to sleep, but man, this thing, night and day, like, it was the difference between not sleeping at all and actually sleeping comfortably. Like, it didn't even just take the edge off, it was extremely helpful. 100% worth it. And I don't know if you're wondering if like this hurts. No, it doesn't. So that was my overview of all the gear I took hitchhiking from San Diego to Puerto Vallarta. As you saw, I used basically all of it, and if I hitchhiked again, I would use all of that. Again, I don't think that I took too much. I don't think I was missing much. There was nothing that I really felt like that I forgot. I felt like I met all my goals. I felt like the volume that I took was good. I could carry enough water. I could carry enough food. I kept everything real tidy. I didn't have lots of stuff hanging off of it. Most people didn't realize I was hitchhiking because of the amount of gear that I took. It wasn't like a big backpack. But yeah, if you have any comments or questions regarding what I took, keep in mind that I've never hitchhiked before. So I'd be interested to see what the more experienced hitchhikers think about my gear and my approach. So like and subscribe as one should, and I'll probably come out with a new video soon, actually showing the trip itself. So, bye.